And Malaysia's Pardons Board has cut the prison sentence of former Prime Minister Najib Razak by half to 6 years. Najib, jailed for his role in the plunder of State Fund 1MDB, is set for release in August of 2028. But he could be out by the end of next year if granted parole.
And for more on Najib Razak's partial pardon, we're joined by James Chin from Hobart, Australia. He's Professor of Asian Studies at the University of Tasmania. Professor Chin, let me pick up from a post you made on your Twitter account, or X account rather, earlier this afternoon. You said you gave a screen grab of the actual statement from the Pardons Board, and then, and I quote you, "Nothing to see, we know already, move on." What did you mean? That this is not a surprise for you, or that this news is days old?
So I think for a lot of Malaysians throughout January, they were waiting for something to happen. Everybody understood that there was also going to be a Pardons Board meeting in January. And many people thought that, that Najib's thing will be discussed. But what happened earlier this week on Wednesday was that CNN ran a story. And in that story, it says that the Pardon Board met on Monday and that Najib's sentence will be reduced by half. So a lot of people were actually expecting the news already. So when it came out on Friday afternoon, this afternoon, just before end of the working day, I think a lot of people were just saying that, this is what we expected. So that's what I mean when I say there's nothing to see here, because everybody expected the sentence to be half.
All right, but there are also suggestions, not least from yourself, that there was a deliberate leak to stem, I suppose, the outrage that the public might feel if this news were to break just for the very first time on a single day.
Right. So I think a lot of people, especially the chartering class in Kuala Lumpur, believes that this leak, the story on Wednesday, wasn't an accidental story. This leak was done deliberately in order to prepare the people, especially, the Malaysian public, that, they can expect the news that Najib's jail sentence, which is highly, highly controversial in Malaysia, will be half. I think a lot of people thought that, that this thing will be announced on Monday, but it wasn't announced on Monday, partly to do with the fact that the new Agong was supposed to be sworn in. But still, by releasing it a bit earlier, basically you take away the anger and you take away the sting of the news. And don't forget, the news came out this afternoon, which is on a Friday, the end of the working week. So a lot of people were actually looking forward to relaxing on the weekend. And when they receive this news, they'll probably say, oh, it's just old news.
So in other words, if we take that seriously and it was a deliberate leak to take the sting out of the news, this suggests authorities are concerned that public anger could be substantial, could actually change things on the ground. If that was so, what should we be looking for, and in what kind of time frame in Malaysia?
So I think if you look at all the survey that has been done before the Pardons Board met, I think you will probably find in every survey more than 90% of the respondents said that they want Najib to serve the full sentence. Everybody understands that what he did was very, very serious. But again, what we're seeing in Malaysia now is that, for lack of a better word, there seem to be two rules. The political elites can get away with a lot of stuff, while the ordinary people, don't have access to this sort of, access to pardons and what have you. I think the other thing that is really, really important to note is that this will have reputation damage to the Malaysian government, because when Anwar Ibrahim was appointed the Prime Minister back in November 2022, people thought that this would be a reformist government. So people are already blaming him, although I have to say that his role in this case is probably limited. This thing is purely at the prerogative of the king. The Pardons Board operates under the king, and it is the king who will make the final decision.
All right. It is the former king who, as his last official duty, chaired this Pardons Board to meet to discuss a possible lessening of the sentence for Najib. But as far as Mr. Anwar is concerned, you could say you could read it either he's complicit in this judgment, you suggest not, or he's not complicit, and therefore his administration does not have the power to do what it might want to do as far as corruption and clean governance is concerned. What is your position on that?
My position is that Anwar probably was caught in a no-win situation. If he had supported this application, people would say that he's no longer a reformer and that he's simply out to protect his own government because Najib is still very influential in UMNO. If he were to go against this, then his coalition, his unity government will be very rocky because it's very obvious that UMNO has placed a very, very high priority on getting a pardon for Najib. I think what we saw today was basically everything was met halfway. So instead of giving him a full pardon, they decided just to reduce his sentence to half, 6 years. And I think the reasoning behind it is quite clear. They need to remove him from the next Malaysian general elections, which is due around 2026. So given the fact that he will be out maybe end of next year, he probably will not be eligible to run in 2026.
So it's not just his age we're talking about, because in order to run in politics again, as Mr. Anwar himself did, you need a full royal pardon. A partial pardon, it means you can lessen your sentence, but technically he cannot take part in politics and run as some fear for Prime Minister again.
That is my understanding, but we need to see what sort of pardon that was actually given, because the statement that was issued by the Pardons Board doesn't go into details other than saying that he was given a sentence reduction from 12 years to 6 years, and the fine was reduced to 50 million ringgit.
All right, a final question here, Professor Chin. I think our correspondent mentioned this as well, the fear, the permanent, irreversible tarnishing of Malaysia's criminal system with this actually clearing. Are we looking at long-term effects to the criminal justice system, a tarnishing of the image of how justice is carried out in Malaysia because of this?
I think there's two ways of looking at it. One is that you look at it at a political level and say that this is clearly a political case. And this case actually has a precedence because, Anwar Ibrahim received a pardon when Pakatan Harapan took over the government in 2018. So it's very much a political act. The other way of looking at it is from the judicial view. But I don't buy that argument completely, because the way I look at it is that this is very much, the issue of pardon is very much the king's or the royalty's prerogative. Strictly speaking, it is sort of one step removed from the judicial process. It's really up to the king whether he wants to pardon you or not.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Professor James Chin speaking to us live there from Hobart, Australia.